Welcome to the Konglish Talk podcast, a chill talk show brought to you by some States girl and Korean guy living in Korea. My name is Leah.
And I'm Diaz, and today's topic is Scam in Korea.
Yeah, so we just kind of wanted to make a short video talking about some common scams to look out for when you're in Korea, because obviously as a foreigner, and there are scams in every single country that, natives scamming each other, natives scamming the foreigners that come in because they may not know any better. So we just kind of wanted to make a video highlighting that for you today.
Yeah, and even if we say about some businesses that scam you, not all businesses scam you for everything. Only a few people scam you, and they want to exploit from you, so you don't have to worry about that much. But we have to be careful, and that will be great. Mm-hmm. Okay, don't forget to follow us and set the alarm. So there are some scams that we had in Korea. I mean, not only for her, so did I. I also had a scam experiences. So, Leah, can you go ahead with your scam experience first?
I personally haven't had a scam experience happen to me. Me personally. However, I have seen foreigners being put in situations more to do with housing. Housing and rental scams are probably the biggest scam that foreigners experience here, and that even includes foreigners coming abroad for teaching. And because a lot of teachers get their own accommodation when they first get here. So the biggest thing is that online, whenever you're looking for housing, like your own place here, a lot of pictures are not what is actually of the room. And so rentals is renting and housing is kind of a big beefy topic for this. So I'm just going to say it pretty generally and quickly. But a lot of times realtors will put up photos and you'll think, and you'll trust the photos because usually in the US, the photos are what it is. I mean, obviously you should always go in and look for yourself, but especially if you're navigating from abroad, it's really hard to know if that place is what it is. And because so many fakes are uploaded online, a lot of other foreigners will tell people coming in, like, get an Airbnb for a couple of weeks and go to the realtor's offices in person to wherever the place you want to live and look at the places, because a lot of times the room is not what is advertised, and teachers will get sent pictures sometimes by schools and it's not accurate. It'll be smaller than it initially is, or it'll look completely different, or the quality will be a lot lower than what they say it is. So that's like the most common scam that I've seen. And luckily when I came, my housing was not a scam. It was what it was put in the photos to be. But I know of people who came and, this is not what I was promised, or this is not what I expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, scamming regarding to accommodation is worldwide, and as she said, visiting the place by your own feet and look it by on your eyes is the best way to check if they are scamming or not. But if the place is abroad, then it will be a little bit wild, and it will be really hard to look at by your own. So then there are some options that you can ask your friend, or we have a face talk on our Facebook. So is it Facebook? FaceTime. Sorry, my bad. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's another one. If you have anybody in Korea, they could also go and look at places for you and FaceTime. I do, and I see this a lot with foreigners, especially long-term foreigners that are looking for their own places to be in a lot longer, like a couple years or something. If you have a Korean friend, even if you speak Korean the biggest recommendation is to bring a Korean friend with you. It kind of makes you look a little bit better. It makes you look a little bit more reliable, because a lot of places can be sketched out about renting to foreigners, and some places will literally not rent to a foreigner at all because they think you're unreliable because you could just leave the country. Some foreigners do midnight runs. So that's like a big thing. So I just recommend that if you're trying to find your own place, if you can, bring a Korean friend, even if your Korean is okay. And I've seen that a lot of, not all, but a lot of realtor services that especially cater to foreigners. I can't say all of them, and I don't know them by name, and I'm not going to name them, even if I did. But some of them that are very specially like, we are for foreigners, apparently are kind of ripping you off because they're targeting you specifically. I've seen that online, other foreigners being like, be wary about these realtors' office that are like specifically targeting foreigners. Some of them like actually make you pay even more. So
yeah, exactly. And we also have these taxis.
Yeah, so Korea actually put in crackdowns on this. So taxi scams aren't as bad these days. There used to be a problem, not when I came to Korea, but there used to be a problem with like, and I don't know if it still is a problem. It might be. I'm not really sure. But like, I've heard of cases where, especially late at night, because in Korea, if you don't know, the subway ends at like midnight, right? Like it ends around midnight or 11:30.
It was 11:30 when the corona was hard, but right now it will be midnight.
Okay, yeah, midnight. So if you're out drinking and having like a late night or something, and you are living kind of far from your house, a lot of the times people will stay in jjimjilbangs, or a cheap motel or something like that or they pay for a taxi because the subway system doesn't run 24 hours. So I've heard of cases where taxis will literally refuse to drive you to your place, or like they won't drive you all the way if they think it's too far. They'll just like refuse you. I don't know if that's still the case, but I have heard of that happening. I wouldn't necessarily call it a scam, but I have heard of that.
Well, rejecting a customer is illegal in Korea, so...
Well, I've heard of it being a thing where they won't drive you all the way to your destination.
Let me tell you about this. So you were talking about the some taxi drivers that won't let you go there when they listen your destination, right?
Yes.
Destination, right?
Yes.
So when there, it really happens a lot in the late night and the midnight. So
right.
When you tell them that I want to go there, or I want to go really far place, or I'm planning to go to the nearby place, and they will say, oh, I don't go there. So
yeah,
there's first, when they go further place, they got more money, like 20%. So when you, since we are living in Seoul, I'm gonna tell this that I'm gonna assume that we are taking a right. Let me assume that we are trying to get a taxi in Seoul. So she was planning to go to Busan, and I was planning to go my place in Seoul. So when that happens, when I go to the taxi driver and I want to go to like an 10-minute-ish place nearby here to my place, and they will say no. But when she comes in and she says, I want to go Busan, and taxi driver will go. Because in that case, he will earn a lot of money with that. Because, meter goes really fucking high, and that he just need to drive to Busan, and it will be like $100. And one more thing. There might be some taxi drivers that says, oh, I will go... I'm not gonna open my meter. You just need to pay like $20 or $30. Well, 20,000 won or 30,000 won in Korea, some that amount. So, guys, you guys should open. You guys should let them tell. Guys, you guys should tell them that you guys wanna see meter, and you guys will pay regarding to that. Paying earlier, those taxi drivers are literally a god and masters of the road. they know that how much it will cost, even if they don't use meters. So in most cases, they are doing that because they want to be charged more. So you guys should ask, I want to use meter. That's really... And yeah, there are some taxi drivers who correct meters, and yeah, that happens a lot in Korea.
And make sure that the map of your location that you want is on your phone while driving as well. They will have a GPS that kind of shows the way, but you can also pull it up on your phone as well, because if they take another turn to make another way to kind of make it longer or something like that to rack up the money, that's a really important thing to kind of keep in mind, especially if you've been drinking. I recommend to sober up just a little bit, because, there might be some taxi drivers that might try to pull a fast one on you because they're expecting you to not pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. And let me tell you about some scams regarding to foreigners that I saw in Seoul. So there are some places for foreigners, like traveling places like Myeongdong, Namdaemun, Chongro, Gwanghwamun, some places like that. And it was my experience though, like nearby Cheonggyecheon. Yeah, it was nearby Cheonggyecheon or Gwanghwamun, I guess. And you might could see wagon that could ride in a 10,000 won. It will be like $10. And behind the wagon, the charge is placed there, and it says that $10 for one team. But if you see the underlined, if you see the sentence below, and they put for foreigners $10 per person. So it's really fucking expensive, right?
Wow.
Yeah, you guys should be aware that there might be some places that do like that, because some, in Korean, 99% of restaurants never charge you with waters, but there are some places that charges water for you if you're a foreigner in Korean sometimes.
Wow.
I saw that on...
Please know that all water is free.
Mostly, so you guys should be careful with that. And yeah, the best thing to know that is that there are a lot of translation applications these days, like Google, and if you come to Korea, Papago, which is made from Korea, is really nice for translating. And you can even take a photo and translate it, and you can speak to the translation app, and they might translate you. You guys should... That will be a really nice to prepare.
Yeah, luckily there isn't, too much specifically. Most of it just kind of has to do with housing and that kind of thing. So, yeah, anyway, just be careful.
Again, we are not saying that every place scams you in Korea, and only few places will scam you. And if you are aware of this, then you guys will be safe from those scamming. So that's why we are making these videos.
Yeah, if you're ever unsure about something, or you don't know if it's normal, or you feel like maybe the prices are too high for something or whatever, maybe they're upcharging you or something, just make sure to ask the resources around you, especially if you have someone who's either been in Korea for a really long time or someone who is Korean, to kind of verify.
And we have Google.
Yeah.
Thanks, Google. I think this is all for this week, and we're gonna see you on next week. Woo.
Bye.